Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Thank you for stopping by. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on Francesca Battestelli, and through her song This Is the Stuff, we looked at, the little things in life that frustrate us, but what we can learn from those moments, like losing keys as an example. So trust you found that one encouraging. Well, we're going to an absolute legend of the music film industry today. It does not get much bigger than this guy. And he very much has changed the world just through his simple but elegant, suave sophistication. His story started in 1915 in Hoboken, New Jersey, very much inspired by Bing Crosby's smooth vocals. And his mum, who was a bit of a dynamo, got him really and truly started. And as it turns out, by teenage years, this guy was actually singing, but instead of learning music, he actually learnt music by ear. That means being able to pick up melodies and tunes without actually reading them. He could follow a music bit a little bit, but not a lot. Dubbed the old Blue Eyes, and of course the guy we're talking about is Frank Sinatra. And certainly he was starting to get a bit of a following in the 1930s. He was certainly getting noticed by the girls of the world because he had just that look about him. This guy was renowned for his style, his elegance, and just knowing the right things to wear at the right time. In fact, he spent a lot of money on his clothes just to ensure that he looked the part, because it's very much his character on stage. And the thing that the world loved was Frank Sinatra's suaveness and sophistication. In the 1940s, he was singing around 100 songs every day, a very, very tight touring schedule, and he was well and truly in demand by that age. And of course, what we know about Frank Sinatra, first of all, is he's got an incredible, powerful voice. He's got a very unique voice. The way he does his phrasing and stuff is pretty cool and unique, and just so effortless, really. But his range is quite substantial. He's got quite resonance in his tone down low and above. Now, Frank Sinatra has been the master of comebacks, and there have been a number of reinventions of Frank Sinatra, so the world never really forgot him. They'd forget him for a couple of years, but then he'd come back with some new way of doing things. And certainly between 1946 and 1984, there were 59 studio albums. Now that is getting up there as one of the highest. 2 live albums, 8 compilation albums, 297 singles. It's estimated he has sold 150 million albums. Now, Frank Sinatra has won a number of awards. He received an Academy Award. He's received 11 Grammy Awards, a Cecil B. DeMille Award, 4 Golden Globe Awards. He's received the Medal of Honor in Israel. He's been a Lifetime Achievement Award for the Screen Actors Guild. He's been graded Grand Officer of Italy, because that's where his dad was born. There's a bit of ties with Italy there. American Society of Composers Publishers Lifetime Achievement Award. Songwriters Hall of Fame, because Frank has actually written quite a number of songs too. He was honoured by the Kennedy Center in 1983. There's other bands such as Led Zeppelin and Billy Joel and a few others have been honoured through there. He's been inducted into the Big Band Jazz Hall of Fame. He has received the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and he's actually had an asteroid named after him, the 7934 Sinatra. What we can say about Frank Sinatra? Legend. Incredible voice, incredible looks, incredible style. Not scared to call it as it is, and he would get himself into trouble sometimes with saying things or not getting on with people. You didn't really want to get on the wrong side of Frank Sinatra if you could help it. But at the same time, when you've got a vision for your career and the way you want it to be, well, sometimes you've got to just stick to your guns and do that stuff. And of course, it doesn't take long for high-profile people. There, I got my words out. To actually sometimes get on the wrong side of people's, and Frank Sinatra certainly had his fair share of that over the years. But through it all, The world loved Saint Frank Sinatra, and even to these days, has actually remembered him. So it was only going to be a matter of time before this channel had a look at him as well. I saw the 1940s was a beautiful period of music, of class, dressing up to go out, and of course one of the artists that Frank was part of was the Rat Pack. Look at these names: Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Joey Bishop, amongst others. Those guys have been on Las Vegas so many times. Done so many shows, so many concerts. A blend of incredible singing voices, good-looking blokes, and a bit of comedy. And you have the Rat Pack. Such a great name for those guys. We'll have a clip coming up with those in a minute. But when you do think of Frank Sinatra, the song that you think about is My Way. Very much a retrospective look back at his life. Regrets, I've had a few, but few to mention. You know, I sometimes bit off more than I could chew. This life has come and it's gone, and it's been a bit of a thing at times, but at the end of the day, it's been pretty good. Now, for Frank, of course, selling 150 million albums across all the movies and television performances this guy's done as well, stacks of movies. You know, he's had a pretty good life, Frank Sinatra. And I wonder, you know, of course, when you think of Frank Sinatra, you think, well, the song My Way kind of makes sense, you know, he did it this way. Let's face it. But you think, well, and, you know, some people have had this song played at their funeral, you know, those iconic people that have had to pave their way in the world. And, you know, people such as, there's been people at funerals who think, yeah, it makes sense that song would be played there because they did do it their way. You know, they took life by the scruff of the neck and gave a bit of a shake. But when I think about My Way for myself, I'm thinking, could I really be able to say that? Am I bold enough and game enough to have such a song as this one played at my funeral? You know, it's like, you know, I did it my way. It didn't matter what the world said, I did it my way. I don't know if I could do that. But at the same time, those who actually have said, I'm going to do it my way, the world's kind of resonated with them a bit. People like Steve Jobs, I've mentioned these names before, Steve Jobs, J.K. Rowling, Bill Gates, people like that, they haven't been scared to do it their way, and the world has resonated with them. And the world realises, hey, we've got the space in our lives for uniqueness, and we've got space in our life for just quirky characters that make the world tick and who they are. Frank Sinatra well and truly was a quirky character. It was well and truly a force of nature. And of course, you know, if anyone was going to sing My Way, it was going to be Frank Sinatra. But I suppose the challenge to all of us is this, including myself. Would I be able to look myself in the mirror and to be able to say, I did it my way? Now, I must admit, the singing lessons I've been having lately, I have been singing this song in singing lessons. It's another thing, though, to be able to sing it in front of people. I think I'd be feeling a little bit arrogant. But other people say, oh, come on, Trevor, get over yourself. You know, you've done some stuff. Why not do it? So the challenge to all of us is this. Why not my way? Obviously, we've got to live in the world and make a positive difference in it. But why not my way? This is certainly the challenge of Frank Sinatra, and the success he has had is because he has done things his way. So we've got, so onto the clips. We do have a live version of that one from 1971. And of course, another song you think of is New York, New York, start spreading the news. I'm leaving to go and make a start of it. New York, New York, everyone knows the lyrics of this song. Well, this is another song that Frank Sinatra absolutely brought to the world. This is a live version from 1985. So he's getting on a little bit later here. But you know, he could still sing right to the end of his life. We then got the jazz classic Fly Me to the Moon, very much wooing a girl and wanting to be with her. This goes all the way back to 1965. So this is right back really at the start. Well, mid-career pretty much here for him. But you can tell that he's got such an awesome voice, just a wonderful personality, and a wonderful way of actually singing on stage. You just got carried along for the ride. So we've got Fly Me to the Moon. I thought we'd also get something from the Rat Pack. Here's a beautiful clip. This is called The Birth of the Blues. And look at these names. It's Sammy Davis Jr., Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra and Joey Bishop. The four of them hamming out up on stage, having a great time. That certainly made the Rat Pack such a compelling act, certainly in Las Vegas. And when the first version of Ocean's 11 came out, these guys were in that movie. So there we go. Pretty iconic movie, having all of those stars in the same thing. Of course, Dean Martin teed up with Jerry Lewis and Sammy Davis Jr. When I think of him, I think of Mr. Bojangles and his dancing. And so Frank Sinatra was a bit of a dancer. He's a bit of everything, really. He could do everything. So it's good to have one from the Rat Pack there. So the links to those four songs are in the description below. And I've also included my last clip from Francesca Battestelli. So if you want to recap on her, feel free. Well, if you've come back for another one, as we've looked at this icon that is Frank Sinatra, or this is your first time to Life Reflections Through Music, welcome to everybody and thank you for coming back for those who've done so. And that's it for today. Next time we're going to go on to the band The Fray. And we're getting near the end of the Fs in this series. So until then, I'll catch you around. Bye for now.